The Forgotten Walls, a Titan's Curse. The air around Shiganshina hung heavy with ash and silence. The once bustling district was now a graveyard of shattered buildings and fading memories. Mikasa Ackerman knelt beside the remnants of a stone wall, her gloved hand brushing over an unfamiliar carving etched deep into the brick. The symbols were ancient, nothing like the languages she had seen in any books or reports. "Another one?" Armin Arlert asked, crouching beside her. His face bore the weight of exhaustion, lines deepening around his sharp blue eyes. Mikasa nodded. "It's the third one this week, always near the old walls." The symbols glowed faintly in the dying sunlight, as if alive. Armin took out his notebook and began sketching them. "These carvings, they don't match any known Titan studies. What if—" Before he could finish, a chilling scream erupted in the distance. Mikasa's hand instinctively went to the hilt of her blade, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the horizon. "It came from the north," she said, rising to her feet. Armin's hand trembled as he closed his notebook. "Let's go, but Mikasa, doesn't it feel strange? Like something's watching us?" Mikasa didn't answer. She had felt it too, the prickling sensation at the back of her neck, like the shadow of an unseen predator. The source of the scream was a young man, barely alive, clutching his side as blood seeped through his tattered shirt. He lay in a clearing just outside the ruins, his eyes wide with terror. Mikasa knelt beside him, pressing her hand against his wound. "Stay still. We'll get you help." The man's hand shot out, gripping her wrist with surprising strength. "No time. It's coming. The Titan. It takes everything. Not just your body, but your mind, your soul." Armin leaned closer, trying to calm him. "What do you mean? What Titan? Where did it come from?" The man's eyes rolled back as he convulsed violently. "The cursed Colossus. It was never meant to be awakened. The walls, they bleed for a reason." With one final shudder, the man went still, his grip on Mikasa's wrist loosening. Back at the base, Commander Hangazoe pored over the report Mikasa and Armin brought in. She paced the room, her usual excitement tempered by unease. "You're saying the walls are bleeding?" Hanga asked, glancing at Armin. He nodded. "It's not just the carvings. The walls near Shiganshina are exuding a red substance, almost like blood. It's been happening for weeks now, and no one has been able to explain it." Hang leaned against the desk, her fingers drumming on the surface. "If what that survivor said is true, and this cursed Colossus is real, it could be a new type of Titan, or something worse. We need to investigate further." Levi, standing in the corner, crossed his arms. "Or we need to stay far away. Every time we uncover something ancient, it ends with people dying. Maybe this time we let sleeping Titans lie." But Mikasa shook her head. "If it's a threat, we need to face it. We've already lost too much." The Survey Corps ventured into the ruins the next day, equipped with lanterns, blades, and a sense of foreboding. As they descended into a cavern beneath Wall Maria, the air grew colder, the darkness thick and oppressive. "Here," Armin whispered, pointing to a hidden chamber. The door was covered in carvings identical to the ones they'd found above. Mikasa pushed the door open, revealing a circular room lined with ancient murals. The images depicted Titans, but not the ones they knew. These were grotesque, with hollow, empty eyes and distorted forms. At the center of the room stood an altar, and atop it, a blackened skull larger than any human's. Armin approached it cautiously, his hand hovering over the surface. This predates the founding Titan. It's something else entirely." Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the chamber. The carvings on the walls began to glow, and a voice, deep and guttural, whispered from the shadows, "Who dares disturb my slumber?" The ground shook as the walls of the chamber cracked, revealing a monstrous figure buried within the stone. Its form was skeletal, with jagged spikes protruding from its back and a gaping maw where its face should have been. Mikasa drew her blade, her heart pounding. "It's waking up." The Titan's hollow eyes fixed on them, and a wave of dread washed over the group. One by one, memories began to fade. Names, faces, entire moments slipping away like sand through fingers. Armin clutched his head, struggling to remember his own name. "It's taking something from us. The cursed Colossus is defeated, but at a great cost." Mikasa and Armin emerged from the battle changed, their memories fragmented. Humanity survives, but the scars of the curse remain etched into the walls and into their souls. The Survey Corps scrambled to retreat as the skeletal titan tore free from the walls, its hollow eyes glowing faintly with an unnatural light. Every movement it made reverberated through the cavern like a death knell, each step resonating with a horrific crunch that felt as though the earth itself was screaming. Mikasa yelled, "Armin, stay back!" Her voice barely carried over the cacophony of the crumbling walls. Armin clutched his head, his knees buckling under the mental strain. "It's inside my head. Mikasa, I can hear it whispering." Before he could finish, the creature lunged, faster than anything its size should have been capable of. Mikasa darted forward, slicing at its leg with her blades, but they barely left a mark. "Commander Hang, Levi!" Mikasa shouted. Hang's voice echoed through the darkness. "Fall back. It's too unstable to fight here. We need to regroup above ground." The team scrambled toward the exit, but the Titan's presence made the air thick and suffocating. Memories flickered in Mikasa's mind, Eren's face, the sound of her mother's voice, but they felt distant, slipping away with every step. By the time they emerged from the cavern, the group was shaken but alive. Mikasa, Armin, Levi, and Hanga gathered in the remnants of an old barracks to regroup. Armin slammed his notebook onto the table, his face pale. "This isn't a normal Titan. It's something far older, something connected to the very creation of the walls." Hang leaned over the notebook, her eyes scanning the sketches and notes. "These carvings, they describe a pact. The first king of Eldia didn't just create the walls to keep Titans out. He made a deal to seal something inside." Levi frowned. "And now it's loose. Fantastic." Mikasa stared at her trembling hands. "It's not just a Titan. It's taking something from us, our memories, our humanity. The longer we're near it, the more we lose." Hang nodded grimly. "If that's true, then we don't just need to stop it. We need to seal it again, or it'll consume everything." As they pored over ancient texts and fragmented carvings, the truth began to emerge. The cursed Colossus, known as Kahorith, was a being not born of the Titan serum but something far older, an eldritch entity tied to the founding Titan's creation. Armin pieced together the fragmented history. The walls, they weren't just meant to keep us safe. They were designed to contain Kahorith's essence. The founding Titan's power was a key to locking it away, but when Eren destroyed the Titan powers, he must have weakened the seal. Mikasa's voice was barely a whisper. Eren's sacrifice. It wasn't enough. As the team prepared for a second expedition into the ruins, strange behavior began to surface among the recruits. One soldier, Franz, began muttering incoherently, carving symbols into the walls of the barracks with his knife. Mikasa confronted him, but his eyes were hollow, his voice echoing with a chilling tone. "It speaks to me. It tells me to bring it closer, closer to the surface." Before anyone could react, Franz lunged at Mikasa, his knife aimed at her throat. Levi intervened, his blade flashing in the dim light, incapacitating Franz with surgical precision. "It's not just a titan," Levi muttered. "It's infecting us." The team descends once more into the cavern, now overrun with grotesque, half-formed titans born from Kahorith's influence. Mikasa begins experiencing visions of Eren, but they're distorted, his voice filled with venom and malice, further eroding her resolve. Armin uncovers a ritual to seal Kahorith, but it requires a sacrifice of memories. Their identities will be erased, leaving them as empty vessels. Betrayals within the core escalate as Kahorith's influence spreads, turning allies into enemies. The team reaches the heart of the cavern, where Kahorith's true form emerges, a writhing mass of shadows and bone, its hollow eyes burning with an ancient hunger. Mikasa and Armin, the last unaffected, prepare for the ritual. "I'll do it," Mikasa says, gripping her blade. "I'll be the one to lose everything. I already have nothing left." Armin shakes his head. "You're wrong. Eren's memory lives in you. If you forget him, he's truly gone. Let me do it." The two share a silent understanding, but before they can act, Levi, wounded but resolute, steps forward. "Neither of you are doing this. Humanity needs you. Let an old soldier finish the fight." Levi plunges himself into the ritual circle, his memories unraveling as Kahorith screams in defiance. The cavern collapses, and Kahorith's form disintegrates, its essence pulled back into the void. Mikasa and Armin emerge, but the cost is devastating. Levi's existence is erased from everyone's memory, leaving only an unmarked grave as proof he ever lived. The walls are rebuilt, but the team knows the seal is temporary. Kahorith's curse lingers, a shadow over humanity's fragile peace. Mikasa, now burdened with fragmented memories, visits Eren's grave. "I don't remember everything, but I remember enough." As the sun sets over the walls, a faint whisper echoes in the wind. This is not the end.